into, but I went in simply because they
I mean, that was
retweeted me or tweeted me, but I don't know what the proper terminology is.
Excuse me. When Jeff told me that, I was amazed. I don't know why. I shouldn't have been. But, you know, they're monitoring who's there, and they are actively reaching out to these people. Instead of having an ad somewhere or a billboard and having a shotgun approach and then they hope that we go by it and see it, they go, Jeff Reed is here. I'm going to tell him we're here and that we're happy to have him here. And, I mean, just that is something that all the businesses here could really use.
In other words,
He checked in, through Twitter, he checked in that using GPS of where he was. And they had a search set up on their Twitter account that anybody who checked in to a certain area, it would ping them, it would let them know. And so they were able to respond. Well, a while back, I mentioned another county in Virginia, and within an hour, several people over there had subscribed to my Twitter feed.
And,
because they want to know what people are saying about them.
A lot of companies, when you mention their company name or something like that, they'll have something. It's gotten to be less popular to do this because it would tweet the good and the bad, so they don't really want to be tweeting the bad stuff too. But they would automatically retweet something that mentioned their company. So a lot of people who use Twitter, they really enjoy their tweets to get retweeted because you get more followers. It's just kind of non-important stuff that people take seriously. But they would retweet it, and it would just show how many people were talking about their company at all times. And it would get other people, it would get the people who originally tweeted about it excited because they got retweeted and all these people saw it. It would get other people talking about the company because then they could get retweeted and all this stuff. There's fun stuff that you can do with it.
I mean, people like to look at themselves. They like for other people to talk about them. So, you know, if I see somebody retweet my tweet, or if it's been 1,000 times, then I'm probably going to go tell everybody, and then they're all my friends, and then they're going to go, you know, it's funny. It's almost kind of like a popularity contest, but a lot of people really do get off on it. Are we ready? Okay, Twitter. And we used Eva's page because we were trying to use some local things. So I was laughing because when I pulled this up, I was like, wow, I didn't know George Nestor was leaving when I was doing this today. I'm like, oh my God. So that shows how, you know, going to her Twitter page, I saw that because I hadn't had a chance to read the newspaper. But anyway, I follow her, and this shows pages that are similar to her. It shows common people that we follow. But this is a Twitter user's profile. So it shows them, it shows their little tagline, it shows their most recent tweets. And then...
Do you know who they are? I mean, if they're producing,
well,
like
it depends on who it is. Like in this case, yeah, you know who it is. It's the South Boston News and Record. However, like in the case of the cobra that escaped from the Bronx Zoo the other month, did y'all hear about that? The cobra was tweeting. You know, you never know who it is. That was hilarious when the cobra escaped from the zoo. I mean, within minutes, the cobra...
What was that? What was the mayor that they were doing to, the fake mayor?
Oh, I can't remember.
I can't remember what city it was, but there was a mayor who had said something stupid on the news or something, and they had this guy made up a fake Twitter account for him and was just saying absurd things under his name, and it turned into this whole plot that involved like space-time continuums and pet ducks. It was
hilarious.
Nuts, but it was making fun of the guy, and a lot of it was very rude, but it got people talking about it. I mean, people all over the country who might not have known who this guy was.
Really don't know who's putting that up.
It depends on the account.
Yeah.
No, a lot of them you don't know. Yeah, there are a lot of people. But like the cobra, I mean, it would be like, the cobra would be like, I'm chilling at, you know, Starbucks having a latte, you know, whatever.
And it actually turned out to be a
hilarious.
pretty cool tourism campaign for New York, because a lot of the stuff that was mentioned in the tweets were New York tourist stuff. So it wasn't, New York wasn't running it, but it goes to show that you can take something totally insignificant and make something fun to get people talking about you, your company, or your town, or something like that.
And I remember the mayor thing. I don't remember that many details, but correct me if I'm wrong. He didn't get mad about it, right? He went along.
No, he actually went on the Colbert Report.
Yeah, he played along with it, because even though a lot of the stuff was negative and rude, hey, attention is attention, especially for a politician. And he played along with it, and if he had gotten angry and tried to fight back, then it would have been even worse. But the fact that he was a good sport made the people like him more, you know, and then they forget about the negative stuff and they only think about the positive stuff. I had totally forgotten about that. But anyway, so each of these is a tweet. And I don't think we have any. This here is one that's paid for. It says promoted. So you'll have the, but I don't see a retweet up there. So
So
I
in
can't
Twitter,
show you.
just a quick rundown on terms. A tweet is just what you're saying. A retweet is when you take somebody else's tweet and just basically copy and paste it and tweet it yourself. A hashtag is just a keyword that you can use in your tweets. And at username is sort of like just directing a
It's
tweet
like your
at somebody.
handle in the old CB world, you know, if you say at whoever. So if I go at Sobo News and Record, then it will show up on her timeline. It's like me talking directly to her. And she'll know that I've said it to her, and she can answer me if she wants. But with Twitter, you're limited to 140 characters. So that's why people start coming up with all kinds of inventive ways to spell things. And also, you'll see in the glossary website for shortening URLs, bit.ly, bit.ly, and you can go and take a long URL, a long address, and paste it in, and it will shorten it to a really short one. And that way, that saves you characters. You're not using them all up.
And that's just an example of how social media introduces whole different kinds of business models into the modern world. I mean, a company like Bitly wouldn't have even existed before Twitter. It would have no purpose.
Yeah,
So
and
now-
not only does it shorten the URLs, you can actually create an account and track all of your shortened URLs to see how many people clicked on it and that kind of thing. So it's almost like Google Analytics, but it's specifically for these shortened URLs. Okay, I'm not going to say that much about LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is best for business-to-business marketing. And I know probably a lot of y'all have LinkedIn accounts, but I don't know how much you use them because most people use Facebook a whole lot more. But I just wanted to show you really quickly, this is what a profile would look like in LinkedIn. This is Ben's from the Higher Ed Center. It's kind of like your resume. It talks about where you work, where your past jobs are, your experience and so forth. You can join groups. Those are some of the groups that I'm in. And with groups, it's like discussion groups. And that way you can communicate with people that you have a lot in common with. You're not necessarily connected to them, though. Like Ben and I, if we're connected, it's kind of like being friends on Facebook, but it's called Connected on LinkedIn. You can be in groups with people without being connected to them. And then you'll have a timeline that shows all the updates from your connections. And in this case today, there's Scotty. Most people had, it was showing new connections. Mine, it was showing that the workshop was full. And BSB, that she had updated her profile. But when you see the little, this, where it says first, that means Ben and I are first, we're directly connected. But if somebody is connected to Ben and not to me, then it would show a second to me. It would show that they're on my second level, and I might get Ben to introduce me, or, you know, so you'd be amazed at the people that you end up linked with because of who they know, you know, and who you know. So it's really, it can be a lot of fun, but again, that's more for business to business. It's a professional site, but it is the source of the most business to business out there. Also, a lot of companies do job searches out there. So if you're ever looking for a job, it's a great place to set up an account. And a lot of even the big companies, not just small companies, they'll do their job searches in there. And headhunters also use it a lot. Do you want to talk about that or me? Okay. We're just going to touch on blogging. Y'all probably all know what a blog is, but just in case you don't, it's short for weblog, and it's kind of like a journal in that you make occasional updates as frequently or as infrequently as you would like, but the more frequently the better, but not obnoxiously. One reason that it's really good is because it helps drive traffic to your site, because typically if you write a blog entry, it's going to be full of keywords in a natural way, though, not in a keyword stuffing way, but like if you're talking about